everyone. In this lab, we will be looking at aerobic respiration with the use of a spectrophotometer and a mitochondrial suspension made from lima beans. This procedure begins on page 67, and as always, we recommend that you read your lab manual and form your hypotheses before watching any videos or looking at the sample data. The first thing we're going to do is turn on the spectrophotometer. While it warms up, we are going to make tube 1 according to table 5.1 on page 68, and we're going to include the succinate. So, first thing I always want to do when you're making up a tube is you always want to make sure that you label which tube it is. So as you can see here, this is tube 1. First thing we're going to add is the phosphate buffer. As you can see, I've got my serological pipette here. We're going to firmly attach it. We're going to spin it so that you can see whichever numbers you prefer. We're going to add 4.4 milliliters or mils of phosphate buffer. As you can see, I've got my very legitimate looking phosphate buffer here. Always recap your reagents. And of course, we're going to add it to our tube. Always remember to disassemble everything and put it back where you found it. Next up, we're going to add 0.5 or half a mil of mitochondrial suspension. That is in an ice chest. Right here, I've got my mitochondrial suspension. I've just pulled it out of an ice chest. I'm going to take a P1000. And of course, I'm going to firmly attach my tip here. And of course, I'm going to put my tip into my sharps container. This tube is not going to receive any DCPIP. So we're going to put that back, and instead we're going to grab a P200. And we're going to add 0.1 mils of succinate. Always firmly attach. Grab your succinate here. Of course, we're going to put the tip in the sharps container, and we're going to recap our reagents. Now that this tube is done, we are going to cap and invert it several times to thoroughly mix it. Now that our first tube is done, we're going to take a look over here at our spectrophotometer. Once again, we're going to click Live Display. I'm actually going to zoom you in here, so please bear with me. Alright, after some adjustments, you can see this screen a little bit better, I hope. Now, if you remember from the BSA and amino acid experiment, we had set this to absorption. So you can see here it's read in nanometers, and it's set to absorption. And when you put the blank in, it goes to 0. However, we're going to instead set it to percent transmittance. So as you can see here, it says %T. And you always want to take a Kim wipe, hold your test tube by the top, thoroughly wipe off the bottom of your test tube, And we're going to insert it into our spectrophotometer. You still need to set the nanometers. We're going to set it to 600. Should still say percent transmittance, and we're going to say blank. And as you can see, it's reading percent T is 100. That is a blank using percent transmittance. Just want to make sure it still says 100. And this is how you set a spectrophotometer and a blank using percent transmittance.